Welcome back to the GLAC Studios oil painting tutorial. I'm Govati Sivasankaran. We are in class 11, possibly the final class of the Dhanya Lakshmi painting. Dhanya Lakshmi, Dhanya refers to crop, fertility, and such. And Dhanya Lakshmi is one of the 8 forms of Lakshmi avatars that are known for all the positive propensities of life. Dhanya, since it refers to crop, this is the goddess of crop wealth. Yes, we have really gone a long way with this painting, creating this image of a little girl in this format, and I have been enjoying this so much, and I hope you also have been. And this is a moment of celebration because we are going to come to a finish. Before I get to the real work, I would like to just quickly, tell you that this is not necessarily the last session for you. You want to go and do a little more about it and build a little more into the nuance. This is something you can take it forward, and I have really created something that is going to help you guide your way and also take a decision on where do you want to make a stop, because that is something very difficult for an artist to decide. And to be honest, I think you would have also noticed that I come to the close of the class and I say, yes, I'm ready. We'll close the class. And you see me going behind and doing something there. So it is really hard for an artist to say close. But, this is us growing. And when we make a close and put our signature or do something to say it's a finish, we're also telling ourselves this has been a learning experience. This is what I learned from it, and yeah, I will possibly grow in my next painting. And to be honest, now that I am actually working on 8 different paintings, there are learnings from one that I'm also trying to implement in the other. It is transferring, and I'm able to see the difference happening because I'm doing 8 parallel. I wouldn't suggest that you do the 8 parallel the same way, but then, we can definitely see there is a growth as an artist when we go to the next painting. So, yeah, some of it, yes, you are able to sense it and do it right away. Good. Some of it, you are reflecting later and you want to do it later, but doesn't mean that you just leave every painting incomplete. Complete it and just stay close, and the next painting of course will be a little better. So keep that in mind, and let's just enjoy this last session. Super fun, and then finish off this painting. So in the last layers, we have been working on layers 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is layer 5 that we are working on. We have finished the face and body coloring, and we have also worked on the jewelry. So what is remaining is essentially her clothing, the elements that she is holding in her hand, and the a lotus flower that needs a little bit of a shine. So I'm going to start with the yellow color. I can see that her clothing is yellow, and also there's need of yellow here and here possibly. So I'm going to take permanent yellow, and it is a translucent color. One thing I wanted to do with the because the jewelry I hadn't decided. So because of me, you also couldn't decide on it. We had just placed spaces, and now we see possible spaces of adjustment, isn't it? So that's something that we could work on. I'm going to take a brush. I think I have brush. This is a 0 brush. I'm going to take that and just primary yellow, because it's already a translucent color. We don't need to really do anything about it. I'm going to take that to first adjust some of those shades, and wherever needed, if it really needs, because some of the shades are lighter, it's covering easily. Some of the shades are slightly darker, so it needs a bit of white. to go. I'm taking a bit of titanium white and going around hiding it. Yeah. Um, because I did give a lot of shading in the previous layers, which doesn't seem to be the case here. We will have few other things to do here. So I have mildly adjusted that, and then I want to give this yellow one more go everywhere. And even in the layers that I shaded for the light and the dark and such, I want to go over that because it's translucent. It's going to show what is there previously, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just giving that shade here. I can see I accidentally pulled a little bit of white from that belt. Accidents happen. So I'm going to take a bit of titanium white in a micro brush to balance out here. Yeah, we did give a nice shape for that belt with loading um, the titanium white there. Yeah, so I'm just going back to doing that. And just because I made a mistake there. Yeah, so it has nothing to do with the real work. And I wanted, this yellow shading to be clearly done also on the sides of her hand, because we have the hair also, spacing of the hair and such, and that's distracting. I guess I have managed fine with the overall adjustments here in the top. We need a little bit of shading to be done for the yeah, for the jewelry on especially on this area, the necklace area, uh, and I want to just fill in this light yellow one more time in these sections as well, giving it a nice finish. We are, if you think it is just filling in, no, there's going to be some work coming. Get ready for that. We create even more depth, even in this zone. So, what are the colors that will create depth here? The obvious colors will be a little bit more of vermilion, yeah, and then to lighten up things, we will use a tad bit of titanium white. Yes, cool. So I am going to move to micro brush to do that. Take a little bit of vermilion, and I want to play around, taking also a tad bit of burnt umber on in vermilion, so it's really showing like the dark scarlet shade. And everything is happening in a micro brush, so it's not that I'm doing a huge amount of portion of color, so it's really on the dark vermilion scarlet range. It very soon gets to Mars red, so be careful with that. And I'm just going to give that a go on the sides, the hip line, also um, the shape of her legs, and just shading underneath the belt, pulling up, those creases of her skirt. So all that I have done with a micro brush. So the colors are still there. I'm looking for another place where I want to do this. That's going to be almost towards the contour of her shoulder line. I've done this. Now I go back to taking the same zero brush that I had with the permanent yellow. I'm going to go over very lightly, pulling that color over. It's so dark, so I'm just playing with it, pulling it in a way that it doesn't blend too much in the spaces. I want to show the body shape. So I'm playing around with it to show the contours nicely. I take a little more of yellow when I feel that the color isn't, helping much, or it's blending too much there or such. Yeah. See, there you go. I'm going to create that line again in the contour of her, where the blouse ends in her arm. That's also where I feel that it could be helpful, but not too much. I've just added it roughly so it doesn't show so sharp. Yes, this is helping in the process now. Now I'm going to do the same thing around the area where we made contours, show up. So I'm just blending them in nicely, leaving them out nicely. So there goes the darker shades. Nice. So we need to use the same color for the neck pieces. So I'm just using the micro brush again, going around that neck piece ever so lightly and giving a trace of, in the dollar necklace, and also around that the shades that I want to give here. I'm choosing only the one side, I'm not doing it in both the sides of the contours of the jewelry. So I'm doing it on the right side of each of the string there. And it's all really thin, micro thin, so it's barely existing because it's a strong color. We are aware of that, and I'm just taking yellow again to pull it through. Ever so lightly, yeah. So that way we have the shading done. Just adding the shading here as well. So these are, can we say, the depth ones, the darker shades. Now we need the help of lighter shades to balance out. I take a bit of titanium white in the same brush. I'm going to go very, very lightly, pushing it in those sections where I feel that there will be some light falling. Me here in the front. Yeah, so I've done that and now I'm going to blend it in. Yeah, ever so lightly, blending it in. By now, you know, when we blend in, we do as per the contour or the shape of that particular part of the body. Yes. Be very careful with the white. You don't want that, you know, or the vermilion shade there to turn pink also. We have a lot to do with the pink shade here in the flowers. Mm. So I think this takes care of our clothing of a little girl. She looks pretty. She looks strong. Um, and now I think I am ready to work on the crop here. I don't want to add more of yellow. I think the shade is fair enough. If I look at the, yeah, it is fair enough. It needs those, what do you call, crop will have, I don't know, like hair, a micro shade there. I want to use either, I'm going to take a micro brush and use a tad bit of burnt umber and also the one that we mixed for her shading. You can use that. So I'm just going to throw out small little hair follicles coming out of that crop. So it's really, really minor, very thin. Using that vermilion mixture that we added also to give some of those strokes, really tiny, tiny strokes there, barely existing. Cool. Okay, I think that is done. I'm just going to take a little more of yellow to poke some dots over and also a tad bit of white dots over. These are minor details, but they make it look like crops. Okay, that is done. And now I want to go back to taking that primary yellow. It is transparent, translucent color, but I'm just taking a tiny bit of oil as well to make it even more fluid, but it doesn't, the check is always that it doesn't fall off. Yeah, it doesn't fall off. And in the micro brush, I'm going to go over every single banana here one more time. I think the shading is good enough, so I'm not going to rework on the shading. I'm just going to give that yellow a nice go. The darker tonalities seem to be good. Um, so I'm going to work on this lighter tonalities only and take maybe titanium white to make some highlights there. See, there is, a slight difference between the yellow here and the yellow there, because this one has got the green and the black and such, and that one is relying on vermilion for the shading. Yeah, so we can still shade it differently and show the difference, of the things or cloth or whatever. Yeah, so done this. I need titanium white to go for some nice highlights there where the light could be catching. So I'm just leaving some strokes, only a couple of strokes inside every single banana. hmm Sunlight catching. That is done. With respect to the sugarcane stick, we need olive green. We have gone through that very nicely in the previous um, layer, though I want to give it one more good finish. I'm having olive green here, and I want to take a zero brush. I'm not going to mix anything. It is a translucent color already that I have, olive green. If not, in your case, you find it a little thicker, you think it is thicker, you can add a bit of linseed oil. And go do the shading first of the leaves. I'll make sure that it's got the finesse. I think it is really helping in showing what was made in the previous layer. So what is dark is dark, what is light still. It looks fair enough. I'm going to use that green again here, olive green again here in the I want to use the olive green to bring in a thin, uh, what do you call, a thin stem in her hands. So she's holding flowers in her hands, yeah. And maybe I will give it a shade with the help of vermilion. When it mixes a bit with the olive green, it turns, that maroon shade, and it really, enhances that whatever is in her hand. I'll do that also in this hand while she's holding the crop. Olive green, thin strokes, because yeah, the stems has to be shown here. Good. I think we have managed that. And what else is pending right now? The flowers, of course. For the flowers, I like the way we shaded it. The thing is, I feel the color is too bright and I want to tone it down a little bit. I have crimson ready with me, but I want to rely on white, and I want to take another brush, maybe a slightly bigger one. Yeah, brush number one. Bigger is brush number one for details, definitely. Yeah. And I'm going to take quite a bit of white. Not too much of white. I'm just going to, can you see what I'm doing? I'm taking oil and blending that white and making it slightly translucent, but also checking that it doesn't really drip down too much. So this white is there. And now I'm going to start with the flowers, tip of the flowers, and really go over now with the tip of the flower and add this dosage of transparent white, so it will still show what is there from the previous shades, but lighten the tone a bit in the top without damaging too much and without, So I want it to be translucent. I am adding a bit of oil to help me go through, so it's really fat over lean. But just be careful with this, you don't want it to drip at all. That's the last thing we need now. The easiest way also is to use a tissue or something to pull it down, to bring the shade down. You can add a tiny bit of crimson if you feel the color is really getting dull or tired. I do that. I've just taken a tad bit on the tip of my brush because it's too dull in some places. Okay, I've done the markings for the first or the petals that are in the front. You'll see the full look of it in a while. Gonna do that also in the tip of the little flower, so it's easy to first, put in that shade and then blend it with another brush. So I'm just throwing the white in and then wipe off the brush and use the micro brush to shade the smaller ones. I'm adding crimson boldly in sections where I want it to be strongly visible. Mm-hmm. Okay, blending the white in. It's up to you. You want to blend some more white and blend some more, the kind of shade that you want to create. It's up to you. I'm making it light wantedly in some of the, in the petals, and leaving it slightly darker in some of them. Especially the ones in the middle are slightly lighter, and the ones in the sides are darker. Okay. I guess I have managed those two flowers, the little ones. Now the focus goes back to the bigger one. Let's move this slightly up so you could see the whole of it. Yeah, cool. I need the white to go also in the petals that are from the bottom. Adding a little bit of that here. Okay, now it gives me the chance to work on the detailing. I'm gonna blend them in nicely. The petals in the bottom seem to have, taken in the color well now. Now we need to work on the same way in the bigger petals. While I'm working on the petals, let me remind you that you're welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions, support at theglazestudio.dk. And also send a picture of what you have done. And if you would like to have a meeting with me to understand more intricate details and more methods and such, of where you're struggling, I could try to help you, and we can have calls also. Um, this is one of the painting that I've made out of the 8. And if we are coming to the finish line and you're curious to try other things, also you're welcome to try them out in my website, and also in the wherever you have picked up the courses from. You will find very similar pictures, and then having images of girls from another country there. So do check it out and see if you can create something similar as well. And yeah, if you want to create another culture totally and rework on it, that's also a great idea. Let me know what you're doing. I want to also learn from that experiences. So yeah, share your ideas on what you think, what you have attempted, and how different is it and such. So I'll find it very interesting to know. Maybe I will also learn from you. So I have added a bit of crimson here to just balance out the shade because it's getting a little too dull here, and I'm just very lightly pushing the crimson in. I like the strokes to be existing. I think I talked about it even in the previous mm, session layer where we did the lotus flower, that I would like those lines to be existing. Um, there are people who do it really, in a fine way that you cannot see strokes. That's also a nice one. I like that too, but somehow I want some strokes going in both ways. So I'm creating that here. And the petals that are behind, I want them to be slightly darker here, sharper around. Again, just playing with crimson and shading. I have not taken ivory black here yet. I'm going to do that as a finesse, as a final, but yeah, in a short while. Going over the petals in the back one more time. Okay, so slight traces of this crimson throwing in on the white section so that it doesn't look totally dull. It is lightened up, but it doesn't, I just want it to be slightly lightened up because the brightness of a color has to come. The lotus is slightly dominating. I had to do this. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of black, ivory black, and go for the same places where we did the, black shadings. Going for the black shadings right behind also. But it's really, really thin, flimsy. You cannot even see because it's really in the tip of the brush, nothing there. And because we already have oil in the yeah, some amount of oil in this canvas, it's just flowing through already. So very lightly, not too much, not too strong. It shouldn't look black at all, and I really want to blend it with the crimson that is wet here. Uh, I've added a bit more of oil because I want to get bold with this color, but again, I'm adding crimson to Mhm. Slow and steady. We are nearly there with the important contours, and I think, with respect to the contours and the effect with the background, we have done justice already. Otherwise, sometimes I also shade darker shades a little bit, traces of black behind to push the background slightly behind sometimes. But in this case, I feel that it is okay. It doesn't look too bright. It is light, but it doesn't look too bright that it is, attracting attention. It is still, in the background. It's not throwing itself up inside the foreground. So it's fine. Yes, the lotus's darker shades are also coming up well. Um, Now we need to do a little more of highlighting. I'm gonna take the micro brush, our thin white. It's gonna help us, and I will give a trace of highlight, bringing the knee to the front because the flower is that's the back of the flower. The knee comes to the front. What else? Here the hand comes to the front and such. We have done this before. The shading that we did is good enough, so I don't think we need to do it again, but a tad bit of it will help bring that forward. Blend it in. Remember what brush we used to blend this in. Mm, that was good. Now I want to give a nice thin white highlight here as well on the shoulder line. Yeah. Now, yeah, you're thinking, okay, she's going to say finish and then she starts over again. Why is she doing it? Huh? Some strokes of crimson going there. They're looking good and blending it ever so lightly again as the other brush. Yes. Mm-hmm. Nice. Now the hair. We did have some amount of hair, that we did in terms of the bunches, the hairlocks. We need to work on it one more layer because, yeah, we had added this yellow fifth layer, and there are some more curves that we need to build in. So we know that it is burnt umber, yellow ochre a bit, and such. So we'll just test that around and make sure that it doesn't have too much of oil. A little bit of oil will help to grow the fluidity, but then remember this is a wet canvas. I'm just gonna go around and create some more strokes here, shades here, making it a little more what do you call bunchy and a nice curve also here. She's got that in her And it's also her hair is slightly lighter in some places, so we need to add up to that as well. So just keep that in mind. Mhm. Adding a bit of yellow ochre here to lighten up those strokes one more time. And yeah, some more. Yes. Tiny, tiny dots of titanium white goes as some highlights as well to finish. Mhm. Oh, she looks golden. Ah, I love her. Let's see the color of her hair. I think it is um, almost there. I just want to give some white streaks to brighten up and some more strokes here to make the hair look really nice here. I guess she is ready. Yeah, I don't think I will. Yeah, it's difficult to make a stop always, like I talked about in the beginning. But yeah, there's somewhere we need to make a stop, and I'm making a stop with this and calling it a wrap. That's not quite, completed. What I would be doing is that what I would be doing is my signature here. So I start with my, I'm not going to do the signature, entire signature right now, but I start with my letter G here in the place where I put my left hand thumb impression when we finish the layer 4. So that's the place where I start with letter G of Gomati, and then I move on to write my full name and such. I do that. Remember, signatures are a very important portion of um, your completion, and do give it a thought on how you want to sign it and such. It's been debated. In the recent show that I was asked why am I signing like this and such. I think I have explained it in many of my videos that I have yeah, created my own format of signature, the way I sign and such, and it's a part of my painting. So, and a lot of artists nowadays do not do the signature, or they do a very short one and details in the back of the canvas. And I totally respect their style as well. I have really developed a style reading into artists from Renaissance period and such, and I really liked Paul Delaroche's idea. That's exactly what I was inspired to do after watching or understanding Paul Delaroche, artist Paul Delaroche's work. and that's how I learned how to sign like this. So I'm just sharpening the edges of my lotus flower because some of them are slightly blurry. Um, yes, I guess then let's call it complete and hope you have enjoyed this as much as I did and have found this useful. Videos useful. Please share your comments, your thoughts, and such freely. That's exactly how I also learn how I can make interesting tutorials for you. So until we meet next time in the next session, maybe stay blessed, stay happy, stay healthy, stay motivated, stay curious. All the very best for completing this. Do share your completed picture and also make a note if you have found it useful and you have learned something from it. Share with your friends that, just make a mention that you have used the Clay Studios videos to learn this. That will be very kind of you. Thank you very much. See you. Bye bye.